Have you ever had a moment where your whole world just stopped? You're sitting there, heart racing, trying to understand what just happened. And then she looks you right in the eyes, takes a deep breath, and says something like, "I don't know what I want anymore. I'm just confused right now. I need some time to think." Boom! Just like that, your heart sinks into your stomach. You feel cold. Your chest tightens. And your brain? It's going 1,000,000 miles an hour. Wait. What? Confused? About me? What does that even mean? Did I do something wrong? It's like someone just pulled the floor out from under you and now you're falling, with no idea where you'll land. But here's the truth. Nobody told you when you were younger. When a woman says she's confused, she's not always telling you the full story. Sometimes she's not confused at all. She just wants to see how much power she has over you. Yes, you heard that right. Sometimes "I'm confused" means I like that you like me, but I don't really like you back, not fully. I like the attention, but I don't want to give back emotionally. I want you around, but only on my terms. I don't want to feel guilty, so I'll make it your problem. It hurts to hear that, I know. But you need to know it. Because if you don't, you'll fall into a trap. A silent trap, where she keeps saying just enough to keep you hanging on, but never enough to give you real love. Most guys, they fall for it. Hard. They start texting more, calling more, proving more, giving more, and it never works. Why doesn't it work? Because the more you chase, the more she backs away. The more you explain your love, the more she needs space. And every time she says, "I'm not sure," you shrink a little more inside. Until one day, you're just a shell. A shell of the man you were before she said, "I'm confused." But here's what a Stoic man understands. A man who lives with discipline, calm, strength. He knows that her confusion is a test, not just of you, but of your boundaries. Are you going to abandon your standards to chase her feelings? Are you going to stop your life just because she's unsure about hers? A real man doesn't chase after someone who's walking away. He stands still, tall, and silent. He gives space, not to punish, not to manipulate, but to protect his peace. Because here's the truth. When someone is confused, the last thing you should do is try harder to convince them. That only proves you're the one who's confused. About your value, your power, your purpose. You don't need to beg for her to see your worth. You need to remember it yourself. And sometimes, the strongest thing a man can do is walk away quietly, with his dignity, with his energy, and with his focus back on his own life. Let her figure herself out. You don't need to help her do that. That's not your job. Your job is to become so solid, so full of purpose, that her confusion doesn't shake you. It doesn't break you. It doesn't even move you. Because the moment she feels that stillness in you, that calm, powerful, unbothered silence, that's when she starts to wonder, what did I just lose? What if he never comes back? Why is he not chasing? And now the game flips. She says she's confused. Here's what she really means. Ever wonder why she keeps checking in, but never fully showing up? Why she leaves the door open just enough for you to peek in, but never wide enough for you to feel safe inside? That's not love. That's a maze. And guess what? You're not a rat chasing crumbs. You're a man, and you don't belong in her little puzzle. Here's what's really happening behind that "I'm confused" line. She knows you care. She knows you're hoping for something more. She sees how your eyes light up when she texts. She hears that pause in your voice when she pulls away. So what does she do? She feeds you little crumbs of hope. A sweet text, a just thinking of you, a random call late at night. And for a second, just a second, you think, maybe she's coming around. Maybe she finally sees me. Maybe she just needed time. But no. Those crumbs? They're not signs of growth. They're signs of control. See? When someone's truly confused, they step back, stay quiet, reflect. They don't keep tugging on your heart every few days to make sure you haven't moved on. They don't dangle their affection like a toy on a string. That's not confusion. That's emotional control disguised as vulnerability. She doesn't want to lose your attention. She just doesn't want to give back the same kind of energy. It's like she's keeping you in her back pocket. Not because she wants you, but because she doesn't want someone else to have you. That's not fair to you, and it's not love. Now here's the Stoic truth. You don't need to punish her. You don't need to be mean. You don't even need to explain. You just stop feeding it. The moment you stop responding to the crumbs, the moment you stop replying right away, stop texting her first, stop trying to decode every "I miss you," that's when your power returns. She'll feel it. Oh, she will. That silence you give her, it'll speak louder than any speech you could ever give. Because real men don't argue about being treated right. They remove themselves quietly and build peace in their absence. Because when you stop chasing someone who's confused, you start choosing someone who's certain. And even better, you become certain about yourself. What if I told you your silence could shake her more than all your words ever did? That the scariest thing you could do to a woman who's stringing you along is nothing at all? Yes, nothing. No double texts. No, did I do something wrong? No late night check-ins. Just stillness. Because here's the secret. Most men respond to confusion with chasing. They ask, they overthink, they explain. They think if they just say the right thing, she'll finally make up her mind. But a woman who's playing the confused card, she doesn't want answers. She wants control. And every time you reach out first, you hand her the remote. You give her all the power. She gets to pause you, play you, mute you, whenever she wants. So what's the move? You create space, not to punish her, not to play games, but to reclaim your peace. You see, when a man gets quiet, really quiet, not from pain, but from clarity, everything starts to shift. Suddenly, she's the one wondering, why hasn't he texted me? Did I go too far? Is he letting me go? That silence? It's not emptiness. It's power. It's presence. It says, I'm not here to prove I'm worthy. I already know I am. And the best part? You're not pretending. You're not waiting for her to miss you. You're actually giving yourself space to breathe again, to think clearly, to stop living in reaction to her every little move. Because the goal isn't to win her over. The goal is to win yourself back. When you stop running toward a woman who's unsure, you start running toward a man who's solid. That man. That's you. Your energy is expensive. Stop giving it away. Ever feel tired and you don't even know why? Like your body's fine, but your soul feels worn out. That's not by accident. That's what happens when you keep giving your energy to someone who hasn't earned it. Let's break this down. Every time you text her first, every time you wait by your phone, every time you think about her more than she thinks about you, you're spending something real, not money, not gifts. Something more valuable than all of that, your energy. And here's the hard truth. She feels when you're doing too much. She might not say it, but deep down she knows. And the more you give, without her asking for it, the more she pulls back. Why? Because what's too easy to get becomes too boring to keep. So here's what a Stoic man does differently. He guards his energy like it's gold. He doesn't rush to give it away. He checks, is this making me feel strong or small? Do I feel clear or cloudy? If she brings chaos, he brings space. If she brings confusion, he brings calm. And most of all, he doesn't chase what's running away from him. Because a lion doesn't run after a mouse. You're not cold. You're not cruel. You're just done wasting your soul on someone who can't decide what you're worth. A woman who respects you will never drain you to keep your attention. She'll want to give energy back, but only when she feels your energy is valuable, rare, strong. Here's what happens when you get this right. Your whole aura changes. You stop looking needy and start looking necessary. You stop begging and start attracting. Because you're not giving energy out of fear. You're giving it from power. And that makes her wonder. What's he doing when he's not thinking about me? You are the prize. But do you know it yet? Have you ever seen a man who didn't try hard, but somehow everyone wanted his attention? He didn't chase. He didn't beg. He just was. And women looked at him like he was magic. What made him so different? Here's the secret. He knew he was the prize. And that changed everything. Let's talk about you. You're here because someone's confusing you. She's sending mixed signals. Hot one day, cold the next. She says you matter, but acts like you don't. And you've been stuck asking yourself, what does she want? But that's the wrong question. You should be asking, what do I want? What kind of woman deserves my time? What energy do I allow in my life? You see, the second you forget that you're the prize, you start acting like you're lucky just to be chosen. You start chasing, proving, trying. And when you do that, she stops seeing your worth. Not because you aren't worthy, but because you forgot it. A Stoic man doesn't let a woman decide his value. He decides it himself. And then he lives it, breathes it, walks in it. He doesn't argue with mixed signals. He doesn't beg for one more chance. He doesn't ask someone to choose him, because he chooses. So what happens when you step into that energy? You stop texting to fix things. You stop asking what's wrong. You stop overthinking every word she says. Instead, you focus on your peace. You protect your space. And you build your life like it's already full, because it is. That energy, that calm, powerful energy, it makes her look at you differently, like, wait, did I just lose something rare? Yes, she did. But this isn't about making her regret. This is about you remembering your worth, without her needing to see it first. A prize doesn't jump off the shelf and say, pick me. It just sits there, shining. And one day, someone who values it comes along. Until then, it stays still, powerful, untouched. Peace. Her confusion is not yours to solve. She says she's confused. And now you feel like you have to fix it. You start wondering, what did I do wrong? What should I say to help her choose me? But what if her confusion has nothing to do with you? Listen closely. You are not a mind reader. You are not her emotional lifeguard. And most of all, you are not a puzzle piece that has to fit her unclear picture. Her being confused doesn't mean you're not enough. It just means she's not clear on herself. And if she's not clear on herself, how can she possibly be clear about you? But here's where most men fall into the trap. They try to earn clarity from someone who doesn't even know what they want. And that's a never-ending game. It steals your energy. It makes you anxious. And slowly, it makes you forget your own truth. Here's your truth. A Stoic man doesn't need a woman to be sure about him. He needs to be sure about himself. He doesn't wait around while someone figures it out. He keeps moving. He stays grounded. He respects himself enough to say, if you don't know what you want, then I do. I want peace. And let's be real for a second. Sometimes women say they're confused because it buys them time, because it lets them keep your attention without committing, because they like the feeling of you being there while they explore something else behind the scenes. Brutal truth? Yes, but you'd rather have clarity that stings than confusion that drains you forever. So what do? You don't chase her clarity. You create your own. You stop over-explaining. You stop asking what's wrong. You stop trying to read between the lines. Instead, you step back into yourself. You build your mind. You build your goals. You build your boundaries. Because your life is not a waiting room. Calmness is power she can't explain, but feels deeply. Ever notice how the quietest man in the room is often the most powerful? She may not say it out loud, but deep down, she feels something different around you. When you stop reacting, when you stop explaining, when you stay calm, she feels it, and it pulls her in. Now here's the thing most men don't know. When a woman says, "I'm confused," she's watching how you react. Do you panic? Do you beg for answers? Do you lose your cool? If you do, she may smile, but inside she loses respect. But if you stay calm, not cold, not angry, just calm, you send a message without saying a word. I don't chase chaos. I choose peace. And that feeling, peace, it's rare. It's powerful. It's what women don't even know they're craving until they feel it around you. She's used to guys who try too hard, who send long texts, who get upset when she's distant. But when you don't do that, when you are unshaken, she starts to wonder, why isn't he trying harder? Why do I want to know what he's thinking? Why does his silence feel louder than anyone else's words? That's AURA. That's presence. That's a man who's mastered his emotions, not by hiding them, but by owning them. See, calmness doesn't mean you feel nothing. It means you feel everything, but choose not to react to everything. That makes you rare. That makes you magnetic. That makes you safe and dangerous at the same time. She won't say it, but she'll feel it. In your eyes, in your voice, in your energy. And when a woman feels that calm strength, her confusion starts to shake, because now she's the one feeling unsure, and you're the one who looks sure of everything. Nice guys talk, but Stoic men speak without words. Have you ever been told, just be nice and she'll love you? But then she disappears, stops replying, or says, I don't know what I want. That's not an accident. That's a test. And most nice guys fail it badly. Here's the hard truth most men never hear. Being nice is not the same as being respected. Anyone can be nice, but being calm, being centered, being sure of who you are, that's what shakes her soul. Because deep down, she doesn't want a man who agrees with everything. She doesn't want someone who bends just to keep her around. She wants a man with standards, a man who says, I'm kind, yes, but I'm not soft. A man who has boundaries, not begging. When you're too nice, you become easy to predict, easy to get, easy to forget. But when you hold your frame, when you know your worth without showing off, when you can say no without raising your voice, That's when your presence becomes powerful. Because now, she sees you're not just some guy hoping to please her. You're a man who lives by principles, not pleasing. And that changes everything. Let's say she gives you mixed signals. One day warm, next day cold. Most nice guys chase harder. They send more texts. Try to fix it. Try to win her back. But you don't do that. You observe. You take a step back. You keep living. And slowly, she starts to wonder why. Why isn't he chasing? Why does he seem so calm? Why do I feel like I'm losing him? That's when everything flips. When she feels that quiet power, that stillness in you. Her games lose their power. Her confusion starts to crumble. And you rise above it all. Because the man who doesn't chase, doesn't beg, doesn't fold, he becomes unforgettable. Mystery is not a game, it's a weapon. Have you ever noticed something strange? The less you say, the more she wants to know. The less you text, the more she watches you. It's not magic. It's not mind games. It's called mystery, and it drives her crazy in all the right ways. Let's break this down in the simplest way possible. Think about your favorite movie. Would you still love it if you knew the ending in the first 5 minutes? No. You'd get bored. You'd stop watching. Why? Because mystery keeps you hooked, guessing, craving more. Now think about how most men act when they like a woman. They show everything. They tell her their feelings too fast. They explain their every move. They try to convince her, hey, I'm a good guy. But mystery doesn't explain. Mystery just is. A man with mystery doesn't post every thought. He doesn't tell her I miss you just to get a reply. He doesn't flood her inbox when she's silent. Instead, he disappears into his mission. He's focused, calm, unbothered. And she starts thinking, where is he? What is he doing? Why am I thinking about him this much? That's the magic. Not because you're playing a game, but because you're living a life. Mystery works because it leaves space. Space for her to wonder. Imagine, feel your absence. And when she feels that space, she leans in, not because you begged, but because you became rare. In a world full of noise, a man who stays silent, a man who doesn't need to be seen to feel strong, that man becomes magnetic. So don't reveal everything. Let her earn your world. Make her wonder what you're thinking. Let her feel your silence, not your chasing. Because mystery isn't about hiding. It's about protecting your soul until it's safe to share it. And in the final stage, we'll unlock the final piece. How to walk away like a king, even if it hurts. And never lose your power again. Let's finish this strong. The power of walking away, even when you want to stay. What if the strongest move, the one that makes her feel the most, is the one where you don't say a word? You just walk away. Not with anger, not with games, but with peace in your chest and fire in your soul. Let's be real. Let's be real. Sometimes you want to stay. You want to fix it. You want to explain just one more time. You want her to finally understand your heart. But guess what? She already knows. She's not confused. She's comfortable. She knows you'll be there, even when she gives less. She knows you'll keep texting, even if she barely replies. She knows you'll forgive everything because you're afraid to lose her. And that's where it all flips. The moment you stop begging to be understood, the second you stop chasing someone who's only giving you half of herself, that's when your soul takes a breath. You don't need permission to leave. You don't need closure to heal. You don't need her to choose you. You just need to choose yourself. A Stoic man doesn't scream or cry for answers. He doesn't fall to pieces because she's unsure. He doesn't trade his power just to feel wanted for 5 more minutes. No. He lets go. Not because he's cold, but because his peace matters more than her confusion. And here's the truth that'll blow your mind. When you walk away with peace, with calm eyes and a focused heart, that's when she finally feels it. The silence hits harder than any message ever could. And maybe, just maybe, that's the moment she wakes up and says, "Wait, what did I just lose?" But by then, you won't need her answer, because you'll be too far ahead, building the life you were always meant for. You're not a maybe man. You're not second place. You're not a backup plan. You're a man with fire, focus, and freedom. She says she's confused. Let her be. But you stay clear. Clear on your values. Clear on your worth. And clear on this truth. If she's unsure about you, she's not for you. Game over. Power reclaimed. Peace won.